Hello everyone, I hope that all of you are fine and well. And as alluded to in my last week's video, this week we have a special theme, and it's the first ever kind of flight experience that I'm going to share with you. I've flown last previous week, a couple of days ago, just came back to Athens. It's going to be a flight within Europe. And just two disclaimers, the clip for the where you see the interior of the plane will be quite short and will just be the most important pictures and videos to give you a gist, to give you an idea of how it was like. And this is just because the flight was a pretty short-term decision for work, and so I didn't have the time to actually check back with the airlines, as I flew one airline to Athens and another one back, and so I couldn't get the official go ahead to post to film everything. And also the crews of the planes were not very comfortable with it just spontaneously, which I can totally understand and respect. And so that's one disclaimer. And another one is that I hope the video quality will still be good, because I had to shoot it again, as it was a very short-term decision. I had to shoot it on my mobile, so yeah, I hope the quality will be enough for you to understand the most important things. So with that in mind, I hope you will enjoy. Now I'll put you the intro of my channel, and then let's start. So let's look at the routing first. I was flying to Athens from Brussels, and unfortunately, on one hand, I didn't have any direct flights for the day and the schedule that I needed. So I had to take a flight with a stopover, which on the other hand worked out a treat for this video, because like this I will have a stopover to tell you about on the way to Athens, and then on the way back there was a direct flight, but we come to that later. So the routing took us first from Brussels to Rome on the Alitalia AZ165 on a 10 years old A320 with the registration code as you see, and all the travel was done in economy. Then the second leg of that journey was from Rome to Athens on an Alitalia AZ722 on an A319, so an even smaller plane, 16 years old, even a little older, and on economy as well. What is not written here, but I can tell you, is that we had roughly around 20 to 30 minutes scheduled on the layover in Rome. And if any one of you has flown from or through Rome, Fiumicino, main airport. It normally is not an airport which is totally hassle-free, in terms of that it's that can be like quite long distances, depending on if you do a stopover, how, like, if you have the same airlines or not. It still can be quite a long journey. So yeah, that was a bit of a tricky detail, but I'll get to that a bit later. And then for the second leg or actually for the return flight, sorry, then I took a direct flight with Aegean from Athens directly through to Brussels on a brand new A320neo. It has been delivered, like also a lot of other A320neos and A321neos, in the end of last year, beginning of this year. This one was from December 2019 and in economy as well. So with that being said, let's get to some pictures and video materials. So before we fly, we have actually to check also what are the formalities around COVID, coronavirus, before even going to the airport, before traveling. So in this journey, as you've seen in the routing, 3 countries were involved: Belgium as a start and end point, Italy and Greece. Regarding Belgium, I have not put anything in there because, at least as EU citizen, I'm not aware that anything has to be filled out, any formalities has to be done. But for Italy and Greece, that's different. So for Italy, there is on the web page of, I think, as well Alitalia, as well as the airport of Rome, but I will link it in the description. There is a site from where you can download a self-declaration form, where it's a 1 A4 page, and yeah, you have to fill in some of your data, your name, your passport, as well as check some boxes whereas you declare to not have been either infected yourself or not having been in contact with others infected or showing symptoms, etc. Not you as a passenger, as well as if you're accompanying minor children of minor age. Then you have to fill it out for every passenger, including the children, and each child, as far as I've understood the logic, has to have also one form filled out, and you as the parent, for example, would have to fill out this extra form for your child as well. And also, what confused me a little bit in the beginning was that you also have this self-declaration form actually is especially for when you are landing in Italy and also stay in Italy. So you have to give also the address where you're staying. But in my case, it was a stopover flight via Rome. So actually, I didn't stay in Italy. So in that case, actually, this form, in the end of the day, is rather a form which you have to fill out for every flight, for every segment you're taking with Alitalia. And it's basically so that Alitalia knows that you, as a passenger on any of their flights, are, to your best knowledge, free of any COVID symptoms, and you haven't been around any people who showed these symptoms. So this is therefore needed, even if your final destination is not Italy. You have to fill that in for every flight. So for us, for example, we were given one form for the flight from in the Brussels airport, from Brussels to Rome, and then we had to fill in another form for the flight from Rome to Athens, which actually is another reason why the short stopover in Rome was pretty hectic, as we have to fill in also this second form. And then for Greece, that was a little easier, but you have to know that that's not a form that is downloadable. You have to go to a specific site, which I will also link in the description of this video. And then you will, it's an online form. You will have to go through different steps, fill out different information, a bit more extensive maybe than the one given in Alitalia. And you have to do that at the latest 48 hours before your departure. So that's very important. And then once you have filled that in, then you also, one of the information you have to give is your email address, and then you are emailed at the latest 48 hours before your flight. You're emailed this form. Yeah, basically this form is emailed back to you, but this time with a QR code. One of these barcodes that are used a lot online these days. And this form For me, I'm a bit more old-fashioned in that sense. I like to print these things out just in case, but I guess also if you have it in the email on your mobile, that should also be enough. And you should safeguard that a lot. You should have it stored safely, and then basically when you enter when you land in Athens and you are going before you are going to the luggage area, it's basically checked if you have that document and that QR code ready. So that's then at the airport itself. It's quite easy then. So yeah, that's all for the formalities, and now let's get to the fun stuff normally, which is the flying. So, arriving to Brussels airport, I arrived by train. So that's on the second floor below zero. And then I went up, like always, to the terminal building. But once you're entered to the main floor of the departures and the terminal building, you were already guided outside again. So you had these panel walls which made clear that you had to go out again. And when you are out, like here, then you were put towards this kind of cubicle. You just walked through this cubicle, and there was a heat camera. So they were not having these temperature pistols there, but this heat camera. Just walked through, everything was fine, and then you were back inside the terminal. As you can see in Brussels, like I guess most of the world and Europe, the terminal was quite deserted. I mean, I cannot remember even on very, very early morning flights where the terminal was so empty as it was this time. Social distancing, therefore, was also in that moment at least quite easy to follow. Then you were going to the security. Security lanes were also very empty. I've heard also reports where security was quite busy, up to an hour of wait. This time, as you can see, it was very empty. I guess if you can avoid rush hours like the beginning of the week and beginning of the weekend, so Mondays and Fridays, Thursday evenings, I guess you should be fine. And here you see again a very small queue. In less than 10 minutes, it was our turn, and yeah, everything went smoothly. Then after security and boarding pass checks, we arrived to the, so to say, duty-free area within Europe. You can see here on the left, those are all EU Schengen area flights, and on the right, non-Schengen and out of EU flights. So you see that on the right-hand side, there are just two planes at that moment, in the middle of the day, one from Brussels Airlines and one behind it, which you cannot see exactly at the moment, which is from Ethiopian Airlines. So quite empty there as well. And here you see another nice picture from a restaurant inside the terminal with our Alitalia flight just in the middle between the two Brussels Airlines planes. So again, here also not very full, not very packed, and social distancing tried to be enforced as well as possible. Now let's go a bit through the area of all shops and vending places in general. As you can see, some are closed. I would say still a fair amount of 60 to 70% of the shops were open. Here you can see that's the area between the shops and the last shops and the beginning of the gates, and there you saw the elevator leading normally to the lounges, which are now closed. These kind of dispensers for disinfection gel were all around the airport, as you saw, contactless as well, so well done. And then you see on the floor some arrows in terms of the direction you're suspected to go, expected to go. And then you see here in the shop something that is quite common in Brussels. You had They had quite broad entries, let's say, but part of them were with a stop sign where you should actually just exit, and part of them with the green arrow where you were expected to enter. So like this also a social distancing measure to try to direct the traffic of people as proper as possible and with as much distance as possible. So you can see again, not a lot of people. The flight was in the early afternoon, so normally there's really lots of passenger traffic around this time, but that was not the case that week. And yeah, so here we go to come to the kind of main plaza of the Schengen area flights um, departing to Schengen area countries, EU countries. And here you see again, some shops are closed, but actually most of them already have opened. So voila, here you can see the last of this. And then we get into the gate areas. So the gate areas, if you're familiar with Brussels Airport, again, they're like Brussels Airport is in a kind of a U shape. And as if you remember before, we have seen the left side of the EU and Schengen area flights. That's the tube that I'm in now. The tube, let's say, where the non-EU, non-Schengen flights are departing from is looking similar, just a little bit smaller. And as you can see, some shops still closed, others open. Here you can see on the at the seating areas on the gates, you can see the plastic signs. They mean that you should not sit on that seat, so it's always one seat to be occupied and one seat to be left empty next to it. And here you can see in the overview, I mean, again, it was 4:45 p.m. and you could see all with just one board, you could see all the way through to the last flight at just about before midnight. That normally is never the case. At that time of the day, you should be able to see maximum 2 to 2.5 hours in advance. On the floor, you also saw some signs directing you to the direction you're supposed to walk. So again, here on the right-hand side, you're supposed to walk down the gate areas, and on the other side, you're supposed to walk back. So yeah, again, really not a lot of people, and still flights are departing, but really only the most necessary ones, I would say, and the frequency of the different destinations is also quite limited, which is again why we had to choose the indirect flights to Athens on that occasion. So with that being said, let's go to the next clip, which is a picture of the plane already, of the Alitalia A320. As you can see, more or less half full. It was the fullest flight, I think, of all of them. And here you can see leg room was not much to be had. I'm 1 meter 82, 83 and 6 foot in the in American system. So that was quite a common theme for the other flights as well. And then we already arrived to Rome, and here you see some impressions from the bus. As you see on this little paper on the door, maximum 40 people allowed. So there were actually more buses than usual, which was quite a good thing, because as bus services go from the outfield position into the terminal, they tend to be quite packed. So that's actually a social distancing measure that was quite good. On the other hand, as you see, still it was not very easy to keep apart a lot. Here a picture of before takeoff to Athens. Again, if you want to see takeoff videos, which are actually quite nice, this flight as well as the return flight from Athens, I will be posting a full length takeoff video and putting it in the description of this one. So if you want to do that, have a look, because otherwise It would have been too long for this video, and yeah, just to make you aware, I also wore a mask all the time in the airport, in the plane, as well as actually all of the passengers. It was quite well respected, as well as, of course, the crew. Some exceptions, as always, but in general, that was a good thing to see. And here again, the video of the A319. Again, not much in legroom space. And then in front of you, the table configuration as you know it from short haul and mid haul flights. Table to be taken out like that, and a bit of an extension there as well, and some. So this was a nice feature with a kind of coat hook that I could put in the seat next to me, as the middle seat was empty. Middle seats, by the way, were not blocked; they were just empty in this part. Then you can see already the return flights. We are here in Athens, entering the airport, and here you can see as well, not that many flights. Same thing as in Brussels, same thing as I guess in most of the places at the moment. And once you enter, on your left would be the check-in area, but as I was just 2 days, less even than 48 hours traveling, then I didn't need the check-in. So right there, the check-in area, I left it behind and went straight past some shops, straight into the passport and then security control. Here actually in Athens, from all three airports, Brussels, Rome, and Athens. Athens seemed to be the most busy one. Probably holiday destinations in summer still picking up compared to the other places. And by the way, my apologies for not posting a video on Rome Fiumicino, on the airport. But yeah, it was too short of a layover. And here you can see a nice touch which more and more airports have. It's like a kind of robot with a tablet attached to it, so you can actually inquire on some of the safety procedures on COVID and security and all that. So that was a nice touch, I found. Something we probably will see more in planes in the future. And here I'll give you with this nice name to a shop. Really liked it. Unfortunately closed. Gonna check it out when it's gonna reopen. A first glimpse of some of the shopping area after security in Athens. Again, a lot of shops closed. I found even a little bit more than in Brussels. So yeah, I guess the economic situation is not very good no matter where you look. So I hope for the owners that and for the businesses that they're going to reopen very soon. And here, going a little bit further in kind of the main plaza of this pier of the of the gates, Schengen gates, you can see why I said before that I think Athens from all the three airports was the airport actually which was the busiest, and therefore also social distancing, as you might be able to see, was actually not so easy to follow, I guess. Lots of areas where people were standing around to wait. I mean, still you can see on the floor some guidance where to stand in line in order to keep the distance. Apart from the shops, the gate areas as well, like in Brussels and actually in Rome and everywhere, I guess, right now. Again, the stickers on the seats, so that always one seat next to you shall remain empty, and so social distancing shall be respected. So yeah, the gate area with some more restaurants in the middle. It was pretty quiet still. In terms of people, it was around 12 p.m., 12:30 p.m. So it was also in the middle of the day, busier than the other airports, but also if any of you have traveled to or through Athens Airport in peak season, which is now in July actually, then you realize that normally you can get a lot of more crowd and passenger traffic than you see right here. But yeah, happy as well for the majority here. You can see the shops that have been already opened and hope. Actually, there were lots of discounts as well, so I guess, yeah, I bought something, even though to be honest, I didn't really need it. But I think if you have the financial means and you're there, I think to support those owners is quite a good thing. And then let's look at the plane, at least a part of it that we took, the 320 Neo to Brussels. It's not only a new plane, but they also took advantage of the new planes, of the new deliveries to also have new liveries. And you can see here, it's the old one, the old livery. I liked both, but actually I think they did a quite good job with the new livery, Aegean. And here you can see it again on the left, the new livery of Aegean, and on the right, a Swiss A320 Neo as well. So same plane, different airline. And actually it was just parking there. I didn't find any flight to which it was registered normally. So there was one flight to Geneva and one to Zurich later in the day, but the A320 Neo was not assigned to it, so was just parking there. And here you can see the short video of entering the A320 Neo of Aegean. As you can see, I think they did a great job also with the new seats, of course, and the new design, the colors, the white and blue, not only the flag of Greece, but I think in this way also a very calming and nice, welcoming sight when you enter the plane. So I like the seats and the design very much. On the other hand, as it's already a common theme, not much of leg room there. Again, I think my height is not a very big, I'm not very high. I'm not, but at the same time, yeah, that was the reality. And here you see, actually, apart from the other amenities on the table and seat that you had in the A319 of Alitalia, you see here a place where you could put your tablet on, which I think is quite a nice touch with these new planes. You have also USB socket, which you didn't have in the A319 or A320, the old ones from Alitalia. Place to put some magazines and a coat hook to the seat and not just in front of you. And the table is again foldable like in the Alitalia one. Then another nice thing is that in Aegean they still serve some meals. It was a 2-hour 45 flights, and they served a meal in this bag, in this plastic bag, paper bag, and inside was, as you see, a water bottle, I think cheese and a cheese sandwich with meat as well, with a sausage, sweet, and a wipe. And they did it serving with gloves, so also social distancing was respected. So yeah, so far so good with the flights, and now I will let you know about what I was thinking, what my verdict, so to say, is about these flights. So first off, regarding the airports, Brussels airport, I have to say it was well organized, it was clean, the mask use were used consistently, so I was fairly impressed by it as in the arrival as in the departure as well as in arrival. On the other hand, social distancing was not always respected, and I guess that's something that we as passengers also have to get used to, especially when boarding the planes and getting out of planes. That's one thing. In the Rome airports, don't have much footage of it, but social distancing was respected, I have to say. Was the best of the three airports. Clean and mask use consistently, you can say that there as well. But if you know Rome Fiumicino a bit, it was quite long distances, especially with a short stopover. So keep that in mind. And in Athens, it's a compact airport, so there are not a lot of distances. Clean and masks were respected as well. Just as you see in the video that I've showed you before, it's quite difficult sometimes to socially distance because it's quite small and compared to the other airports, and therefore that's a bit of a tricky thing to do in Athens now. So regarding the airlines, first Alitalia. It was a pretty smooth and good boarding process, especially in Rome, I have to say, as its main hub, and they were on time. So that I think was in their favor. On the other hand, the planes were a little older than Aegeans, 10 or 16 years old. So you saw a bit of wear and tear already, and the procedure, especially with the self-declaration form, was not 100% clear at the front, the beginning, and there was no online check-in. So on the one hand, we say that you have to socially distance and not avoid contact at the airports, but on the other hand, that was not really possible in this case as the online check-in was not available, so I had to check in the airport. And with Aegean, well, new airplanes, brand new, on time as well. Food was served, and as we saw, I mean, even with the physical contact, I mean, you could do it by wearing gloves for the flight attendants, so that was possible. And I couldn't really see a lot of cons with Aegean. So there you go. These are the takeaways I would have for these airlines and this flight. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm actually thinking about doing a more detailed video on a bit of the future of flying again. That I've done it already a couple of weeks ago, but in the view of this recent experience, and also at this time there are lots and lots of articles about it. So I was thinking I could maybe do another video on this, maybe also from a bit of a different angle. Let me know in the comments if you would like to see that. Of course, hit like and subscribe if you like that video and the channel in general. And if you have subscribed, then click also on the notification button so you hear first when the next video is out. So yeah, again, hope you liked it. Wish you a good week and see you in the next video. Bye bye.